I think like the big secret is, I think everybody knows technology and social media is always changing. I don't even think that's necessarily even a secret. I think the real secret is that your strategy needs to change because that's changing. And the reason I think that's a secret is because so many people employ the same strategies despite the fact that this world is changing. And then they're always surprised when it does not work.
Welcome back to the Main Street Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Skip Ranke, and today I'm going to be joined by Kristen Griffin-Phelps, who is the social media guru here at Paragon Marketing Group, and we're going to talk about uncovering the secrets to successful social media strategy. I think I probably got that right.
You got all the S's.
It's a little bit longer of a title. But before we get into today's topics, I wanted to mention that if you didn't get a chance to listen to our previous episode, the common misconceptions about graphic design, where Nate Sherritt and I were talking about stuff, make sure you go back and listen to that episode. It was really pretty enlightening. Nate's a pretty sharp guy and he knows what he's talking about, so go and listen to that. So before we get going today, Kristen, tell us a little bit about what you do here at Paragon so the audience knows exactly what your expertise is for us.
Yes, well, my official title, as you know, is content creator. I do a lot of content, but one of the primary types of content I create here is social media, all different types of platforms. I love copywriting, doing strategy, coming up with those types of things. I write blog posts, I write for websites, so I do love words, and I love putting them in social posts.
Yes, and you've done a great job with keeping us on task for our podcast, where you keep us on task for the strategies and you keep us the scheduling, and you keep us in line with that. So today, Chris and I are going to talk about some secrets to successful social media strategy and how you can start applying those to your business and your marketing today right away. So we're going to talk about the first one, which is having a social media account isn't a strategy. What in the heck does that even mean?
Okay. Well, a lot of times when I talk to people, they're like, oh my goodness, you're a content creator? So am I. I have a Facebook account. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not quite what I mean. Or, oh yeah, my nephew's on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And maybe their nephew is a content creator. Who knows? But right. The whole point is that the secret is that having an account does not make you a strategist. There's so much time, there's so much work, there's so much strategy that goes into it. I mean, I have like this huge bolded list of stuff that I do. And that just makes up a small portion of it. It's everything from choosing the time of day when you post, to curating the type of content, to even the aspect ratio for video. Today, there are a lot of different things and a lot of different work that goes into it. So just having an account does not make you a social media content creator. I think there's a lot more work and effort and strategy that goes into it.
Yeah, and you hear people that say, well, I post on my account. And then when you go look at it, you said, well, you had one in April of 2021. You had one in December, a Christmas message of 21, and you haven't done anything since then.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yes, you did. You had a video in 22. So, I mean, it's when you're developing that and you're talking about it, that strategy is huge, but it's, the times that you're going to post,
right?
What you're going to post,
right?
Is it always the same thing?
Yeah. And
I see that I saw that last week where somebody was posting the same thing, just with different ways of saying it, twice a week. And I said, you got to give them something more than that. You're not, and
right.
They were wondering why they weren't getting any engagement on their posts at all.
Yeah.
And it's because it was the same thing.
Right.
Doesn't freshen anything up at all.
No. A couple examples kind of come to mind too, but one of them, so I recently moved to North Carolina about a year ago. Found this wonderful chiropractor because I've always had like chronic lower back pain. And he had just started his practice. I talked to him and he's like, I really want to get into social media marketing, but he's like, it's not hard, right? Like anyone can do it. And I always feel like that's like a loaded question. I don't necessarily want to be like, no, you definitely can't do it. But anyways, so he started posting these videos of adjusting people, and they were doing only well on one platform. He wasn't changing the video, wasn't changing the caption, wasn't changing anything about it. And then he came to me, he's like, I'm really confused as to why this isn't performing well. I don't get it. And it's because, you can post to all these different platforms, but that does not mean you're going to be successful on there. And I think too, part of it is people want to see instant results.
Yes, that is that is not a misconception. That is something that you hear every day.
Right.
And there's people like we ran into somebody just this past week. They had 590 some people on their account.
Wow.
And they weren't utilizing it. They started the process.
Right.
They got going on it, and as a small business owner, like we've always talked about,
Yeah.
people get busy and they put that to the wayside. But that's
Right.
590 some people that you have an audience with
Totally.
instantaneously that you can send your message to, and they can go and they can share that with people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge opportunity that's getting missed out on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So just because you have an account, or just because you know somebody who has an account, doesn't necessarily mean that is a strategy.
No, it definitely is not.
So then the second thing we've talked about is that social media isn't glamorous. This was an interesting one. So why not? Why isn't it glamorous?
Well, I think there's this whole idea that you see one really successful person do well, and it's like, oh, well, I can do that too. Or I always now you might not know this reference, Skip, because I don't think you're the target audience. But I like to bring this up because I think the show does such a good job. It's called Emily in Paris, and it's about this young girl who goes to Paris for a year, and she's a social media marketer, and she'll snap one photo, put a couple words, and she'll be like 10,000 likes, 100,000 followers. And it's like, people are like, wow, that looks amazing. That's so cool. It's not anything like that at all.
Okay. Now I get it. Now I understand where you're going with that.
And right, it's a fictional TV show.
Right,
so we're
right.
not meant to take it all seriously. But I think it drives home the point that social media marketing, it's not really glamorous. I think most people don't want to hear that it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of effort. I think sometimes I'll see a post, and as a marketer, I'll look at it and it's like I can see all the behind the scenes work on it.
Mm-hmm.
As someone, every single word was well thought out before the copy was put there. The colors coincide with the company, the font does, the image.
Right.
It's the appropriate tone. It was posted on a specific day of the week at a specific time to reach the top amount of audience. The CTA or the call to action was really appropriate. And you think about when you start going into the number of details that really make one post good. And then just to think that's on one platform. Maybe they're trying to put this type of post on 6 or 7 different platforms. So they're editing it appropriately. Even in a case with a video, it's there's a different aspect ratio when you post to a reel or a TikTok than you're going to have for perhaps a story or on a Nextdoor account or on a LinkedIn account.
It's all different.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of evolved over the course of the last year.
Right.
Because all these things are changing. And so if somebody's not really paying attention on how to do it, they're going to be doing it wrong.
Exactly.
And then it's not going to be effective.
That's exactly right. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And that's why I really think of it as a secret, because it's this little known secret that it isn't one of these things that's just, all you have to do is snap a couple photos and you're all good to go. I mean, you can try that and it might work once in a great while, but that's going to be the exception and not the rule.
Or people snap, or they're doing something on their business account
Right.
that is personal.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started
No,
on that.
I mean, but they don't. But sometimes they're not even paying attention. They're doing it by accident.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I mean, there was one case, and I will bring this up. There was one time when a client of ours did something personal and put it on their business page,
Okay.
and it was something they were doing with their dog,
Sure.
but it got a ton of traction. And
Wow.
it got a lot of people to focus on it, and then they were realizing I'll do
Yes.
this more often and I'll get more people engaged with it.
Right.
And it really, by accident, helped their strategy. So when you say that, I mean, it's not glamorous, but it really did. That was just one
And that's
instance.
a happy accident. We like those.
Those are good to have.
And it was a dog, and a lot of people resonate as dog owners and dog lovers. So
Yes. So
That's
yeah,
great.
social media is not it's not glamorous, but it is hard work.
yes.
And it takes focus.
And if you do your job right, people will think it looks glamorous on the outside, and we know, behind the scenes that it's not.
Yes. Third secret, though, and we just talked about it 10 seconds ago, is the ever-changing world of social media.
Yes.
How do you stay up on it? I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do social media anymore in the organization. I'll tell you that right up, because I focus on other things. But you've done a great job of staying up on it. You and Emma working on that.
Appreciate it.
How do you I mean, how do you dial in? How do you stay tuned in to all that?
Well, I think that I have to remind myself that I am one person, so it's going to be impossible to know every single nuance. But I think like the big secret is I think everybody knows technology and social media is always changing. I don't even think that's necessarily even a secret. I think the real secret is that your strategy needs to change because that's changing. And the reason I think that's a secret is because so many people employ the same strategies despite the fact that this world is changing, and then they're always surprised when it does not work. I think there's so many good examples out there that I like to think of, and again, by the time that this goes live, there might be 3 new big ones, right? Like
Probably.
one of the big ones, and I think a lot of people know this, and I think that like there was somebody else in the organization who brought it up, and I'm like, how do I not know this? But when Elon Musk rebranded Twitter to X, and that's huge. And I think from a marketing perspective, my first thought is, so the language is going to be changing. Are we still going to be saying tweeting and retweeting? Probably not. But what is that going to sound like? Xing and re-Xing? I don't know if that sounds good.
It doesn't sound right.
I think they're going to need to look into their whole rebranding. But that's just one of the really big ones recently. I used to work for a library a few years ago, and I did just a little bit of social media marketing. And back then, you could not schedule an Instagram post. You had to like do a big workaround, and the whole point is Instagram wanted you to be able to post in the moment. So everything had to be done through your phone. I'm so grateful that's changed, but that's also changed a lot of the strategy, because now we want to make it look like it's very native and in the moment, but we might be able to schedule all of that out, which is fantastic.
Right. From a time management perspective. That's awesome.
Right. Efficiency is huge. But I think a lot of times people like change is very difficult for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I think embracing that change, I know, and I've mentioned it a couple times here, but one of them right now is just, and my husband always makes fun of me for this. Like, I'll record videos and I'll hold my phone out and I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to record like this. And he's like, no, that's dumb. You need to have it horizontally, and it's weird, but like you think TikTok, you think Instagram Reels, like it's all different now. It's different how we record stuff.
Oh, and now I have to go back and retrain myself. Well, no, because when I'm out, you're out telling like people that are our clients.
Yeah.
And we're saying, if you guys capture some video snippets,
right,
we can use those in your marketing.
Yeah.
We're not always there on a site for you if
Sure.
you're like a landscaper or something like that. But, when you take those videos, take them sideways. Well, I have to go back and tell them, well, wait, think about that before you take the video.
Right.
And they're like, what do you mean now? I said, because, well, if you're going to use it on a story,
yes,
take it this way. But if we're going to use it for a promotional video, take it this way. And they're like, I got to think about that? I'm like,
yep.
Yeah. I said, or just take it really, really wide and we'll try to break it down.
Right.
So it's just, it's retraining everybody about things. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I think like the biggest takeaway for this is that we have to be open to change. And I always think of that old adage that's like, we've always done things the way we've always done them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not going to cut it when it comes to strategy. If everything else, if the landscape is changing, the strategy has to change too, and we have to be open to that. And that is hard.
No,
but it's important.
But that's really in any facet of business, because if you're not keeping up, if your competitors are
right.
and you're not, you're going to get left behind.
Very true.
And so now they've got a competitive advantage over you in your organization. That's going to make you look bad.
Yeah.
And that can be anywhere from how you do videos, how you do your social, or anything
right.
in the business.
Absolutely.
So being resistant to change is natural.
Yes.
I mean, I know that, but you still have to be ready to foster it and be able to do it. So I think
Absolutely.
That's a really good point. So when we talk about the fourth one we got going on here, I love this one because this is like right up my alley. You can't half-ass your social strategy.
Yes. This is a little throw out to any Parks and Rec fans. Believe Ron Swanson, he says, instead of half-assing a couple things, whole-ass one thing. And I think that's genius.
I forgot about that. That's pretty funny.
But I really think it's a good point when it comes to this. And like what I think of is when TikTok first came out, and I think businesses were desperate to get on the platform because they started performing really well. It was helping a lot of businesses. However, it's not right for every business. And I think it's really easy to kind of jump on the social media bandwagon when the next new thing comes out. Like, for example, Threads came out recently. That is kind of the meta universe's competitor to Twitter, or should I say X now?
Right.
Still getting used to
Well,
that one.
it's X, formerly Twitter, is where you see it everywhere.
Right. And what's interesting is that I think a lot of people they want to do everything. They want to be in the latest stuff. But not every platform is right for every business. So if you get onto every single platform and you already, especially as business owners, do you know any business owners that have extra time just sitting there?
I know none. I don't know zero people business owners that have extra time. They would wish they could have a 26-hour day.
Yeah.
And they would use every single minute.
But
of
if
it.
you had a 26-hour day, you'd be hoping for a 28-hour day. I really
Yes.
truly believe that what's important, the whole concept is instead of trying to do everything half-heartedly or half-assing
Right.
everything, find out where your audience is. Not everyone's audience is going to be on Pinterest or Nextdoor or LinkedIn. I would say probably almost everyone's audience is probably going to be on Facebook. But I mean, not everyone's audience is going to be on TikTok. Maybe it's a Medicaid or Medicare company. I don't think that our primary audience is going to be on TikTok, but you never know. The important thing is you have to do your research. You have to do your research. You have to find out where your audience is, who is your target demographic that you're going after, and then research and find out which social media platforms are going to work best.
And knowing the messaging that they want to hear.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
you can know your audience.
Yes.
You can go after them, direct everything to them. But if the messaging isn't right,
Right.
then what the hell did you do?
Yeah, and you're
just
not gonna
wasted
reach them.
a metric crap ton of time that you're not going to get back, and they may just stop following you.
Yeah.
Or they may even want to look at it.
Might totally turn them off.
It probably would turn them off.
Right.
So this whole bandwagoning thing. I mean, I saw somebody who was on Pinterest that they shouldn't even have been on Pinterest
Yeah.
because my nephew said I should be on Pinterest. Well, no, because what you're doing is not a Pinterest idea.
Right.
Why aren't you on Facebook? Well, because everybody's on Facebook.
Well,
Well,
that's great then.
That's where you should be. So
Exactly.
you do know the irony of the half-ass thing here, right? Because you have a statue up here above
Oh,
your head with
yes.
the half-ass.
The statue up there. Can
Yeah.
you tell maybe those who are watching or listening what that's all about?
Yeah, there's a statue that we passed around for our kids, and it was the Pain in the Ass Award. And what that was is if you did something completely like stupid, it was just made no sense, and you got the Pain in the Ass Award, and you had to hold it for a week.
You had to hold it for a week.
Oh, not hang on to it.
Go to bed with it.
Yeah, no, but it was in you were the award winner for the week.
Okay.
So this Pain in the Ass Award, the kids didn't want to get it. So basically it was don't make stupid mistakes and you won't get the Pain in the Ass Award.
Love that.
And so it was a good thing because the kids weren't making the mistakes, and the Pain in the Ass Award just pretty much stayed with me because then I became the Pain in the Ass.
Yeah, you got to keep it. You were the ultimate
I
winner.
am the ultimate Pain in the Ass.
Love that so much.
What would you recommend to a new business owner who's starting out?
Really do your research. I know that's a big one and it sounds like I'm just repeating it over and over again, but the truth is do your research, find out the platforms where you should be, know who your audience is, know the tone. And then I think sometimes people might come back and be like, listen, I just don't have time for that. And you know what? That's why we're here at Paragon.
Right.
You know, we're here to help with that because business owners are busy and they don't have time to do everything. They don't have time to research everything. And while I'm certainly not suggesting don't do your research, if you don't have the time to go into that much detail with it, we will gladly do it for you.
Yeah, and we've done that for a ton of people, and we've taught people
Yeah,
on how to run their own
absolutely.
socials. Not necessarily for us to do it all for you all
Right.
the time. We're here as a resource just to help you out with anything we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And one I'd love to throw out there too. If you are on any social media, I highly recommend follow Quick Trip. They put out
They really do.
an amazing social media presence. Very clever, very witty. An account I would aspire to be
Yeah,
like.
they do some. They do have some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, they're very funny, and I love that they're local.
Yeah. So the real takeaway here is, don't half-ass it, whole-ass it.
Absolutely. If you think that you should be getting on it, or if some relative or friend tells you to get on it, before you go do that, really, evaluate how much time you have and if it's going to be worth it or not.
Yeah, exactly. So if you've been wondering on how to get into social media and how you're going to do it, I hope this was really helpful for you today. Do you have any final thoughts about anything with regards to this at all?
I don't know if I've repeated it enough, so I'll just say do your research. That's like the big one. I like to say, do your research, really think through all those things, and when in doubt, give us a contact, give us a call.
When in doubt, reach out.
When in doubt, reach out. I
That's
like that
gonna
one
be the new
even
saying.
better. When in doubt, reach out.
Came up with that, and not everything is as it seems though. So you got to make
True.
sure that you're.
That's right.
Might not seem simple.
Yes, absolutely. And if it does seem simple, that means they've probably done their job really, really well.
Absolutely. So at Paragon, again, we do understand that, there's a lot of nuances to the social media scene. We're here to help you if you need us. And give us a call. Like she said, give us a call, drop us an email, whatever. We'll be here to help you. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing all your wisdom with us today.
Absolutely happy to. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And don't miss out on our next podcast, which is Your Greatest Marketing Fears, coming out next month. Again, so I'm Skip, the host of the Main Street Marketing Podcast. Again, thank you, Kristen, for coming today. And we'll see you soon. Take care.